Okay. It seems like we are back. Alright, I'll give a little time for the for people to get back. Um, yeah. Alright. Alright. Um, yeah. I am super sorry about that. Looks like the stream just crashed in the middle of that. Alright. I guess technical difficulties. Again, super sorry. So I guess we'll wait a minute for people to get back. Yeah, I guess our streaming software had a hard time. Yeah, so we'll wait about a minute for people to get back. Once again, really sorry. Dragon PK, the PyCharm has not yet been downloaded. Um, as you can see in the bottom left corner, right here, uh, the uh, the streaming software is ready to be downloaded, but we haven't gone ahead and completed that step yet. So that is going to be the next step that we go ahead and complete right here. So yeah, we'll wait a little bit for people to get back. Yeah, I'm super sorry about how that crashed right in the middle of it. So yeah, once people get back, we can kind of start it up again. Um, yeah, again, super sorry about that. Alright, I guess I can go ahead and start getting continuing on this. So open source is something that's a lot of programmers use, and the examples I gave were Linux, which is an operating system, OS right here. Uh, so it's something that programmers can go ahead and download for free, put on their computer for free, and use for free. They can change it, they can edit it, they can do whatever they want with it, because by stating as an open source software, they allow others to go ahead and use this technology for free for them. So um, again, that's in opposite to closed source, where you can't edit it, you can't access any of it, but you can use it if you pay whatever their subscription or whatever is it. Andy, so you ask, are we going to use PyCharm today? After I go ahead and show the downloading instructions, I will go ahead and show some basic code that we can go ahead and use and play around in PyCharm a little bit, essentially. Um, by the end of the class, the goal is for everyone here to be able to have a working IDE, and throughout the next week before the next class, maybe familiarize yourself with it, and then in the next class we can actually go ahead and get started with some more programming, I guess. So I'm going to go ahead and switch this into my screen now. So as you can see, I have this download over here, so I'm gonna go ahead, click on it. So as you can see, it'll open up the exe software, and it'll begin the setup. So click next to continue. So over here, I actually have my old version over here. So this old version is going to be the the version that I have running over here. So I'm not going to go ahead and uninstall this because I have some files on this right now. So we can go ahead. I think we just skip over that step. So you guys should not see that previous step, but now you should see this over here. What you're going to want to see is this path over here. So it's going to start from C, go into program files. It's probably going to install it like this. It might be slightly different based on your own computer and stuff like that. And it'll install PyCharm Community Edition 2020.3.2. It should be under the folder JetBrains, so all these slash marks over here are essentially going into deeper folders. So, as you can see, my computer is lacking on space, so for you to click next, you can see we have these 4 options over here. So what you're going to want to do, if you want a desktop shortcut, what that is if I were to minimize out of all of this, these are shortcuts, all of these over here. You don't need to actually have it installed by any means. It can be easier. I don't really do that. I just have this pinned to my taskbar, so I can just go ahead and open that up whenever I want to. Again, that's completely up to you. You do not need a context menu. This is completely GUI, and what I mean by GUI is it is essentially completely for the looks. There's nothing functional about this. You don't need any associations, and you can update the path variable. For me, if I were to reinstall it, I would need to, but for you guys do not need to. So next thing over here is select the start menu folder in which you would like to create the program shortcuts. So all you're going to do is just click JetBrains, and then you're going to click install, and it is going to go ahead and install it for you. So the next step to this is, well, JetBrains is not a free software. So when you go ahead and you download it, it's going to say, oh, you have to pay and all this stuff. But once again, when we go ahead and we downloaded it, we used the community version, right? So one thing I would suggest for you to do is go to github.com, and you're going to want to sign up, do all this stuff over here, and it'll ask you to put in username, all that kind of stuff. Make sure you familiarize yourself with it. It's often very, very useful. So we can go ahead and go back to here. Alright, so now you should have PyCharm installed. The program should be on your computer now. It might take a little longer for some computers to get it than others, but overall it should take maybe 15 minutes, 30 minutes tops. If you have any problems, remember to just go ahead and to Google it. If you have any problems saying why won't PyCharm do this or that, you can just go ahead and Google it, and I guarantee you there will be some sort of answer that is very helpful for you. So now that we've gone ahead and we have the PyCharm IDE, we need to learn how to go ahead and actually use it. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up PyCharm for you guys. Where is it? Okay, here it is. Alright, so over here we're gonna enter PyCharm, and what you see over here is kind of this blank screen. There should be absolutely nothing here. Just, you know, some tips maybe on the side or something like that. You can just go ahead and close those out. So when you go ahead and you program, first thing you're going to need to do, you have this, you're going to need to click on File over here, and under File you're going to have all these options. We want to click on New Project Be careful, don't click on new, don't click on new scratch file. We want to create a new project. So what this project is it's essentially a way for PyCharm to know this is going to be the folder in which I am going to allow this user to program under. Any other files I create are going to be put under this folder. So essentially this is going to be something that's going to be stored in your file explorer, which is right over here. You'll see we have this over here, right? And this is going to be your file explorer. So obviously we don't need to go ahead, we don't really need to know where that is necessarily, unless you have some modifications you need to add or anything like that. I don't think we need anything like that, so it's perfectly fine for you to just go ahead, use the basic the path that they give you over here. One thing I do suggest is you make this something unique. So I'm gonna go ahead and name it Python mini projects. You guys can go ahead and name that as well. Whoops. So you are going to be using a virtual environment, and we're going to go ahead, use the location as this over here, and we're going to also use the basic interpreter. What is the interpreter? Well, if we look at this, we see it goes all the way, and we see, okay, it goes into Python 3.8 and python.exe. And the interpreter is essentially going to be the actual Python. What it's going to be using to actually run the program. So this is quite useful, obviously. So no other changes should be made. The only change you should make is changing this very last portion right here after this slash. Be very careful to not delete this slash, because that is going to be how it organizes your folders. So now that we do that, we can go ahead and click create. So so we are going to be going ahead and opening it up in this window. You will not see that because this is the second project I am creating. So you're only going to be having this is going to be your first project that you're going to be creating, so you shouldn't see that type of message pop up. So the next thing you should see is this over here, and right now it's installing the project folder. So as we can see here, it has Python mini projects, and Python mini projects has one program in it already. It has main.py. Why does it have a main.py? Well, typically when you have projects, the programs are, corresponding to one another. They call on one another in order to complete one overall task. We are going to be using the idea of projects much more differently. Instead of having actual corresponding programs, we're just going to be having a lot of programs under one topic, right? So we can go ahead, we can ignore main.py. As a matter of fact, you can go ahead and delete main.py if you really want to, if it bothers you. I don't delete it, there's no reason for me to. So the next thing that we're going to go ahead and do is click on File, New this time. Remember, don't click on New Project, not New Scratch File, just New with a ... And after that, you should see just this one thing pop up right over here. And we have all of these options right here. Well, we're going to be creating a Python file. Later on, we might use some of these. So this is an HTML file. What that is essentially if we want to write something that can be viewed on the web. So essentially, things that you program on here, you're going to be able to go ahead and allow other people to see it. We're not going to be really using that. That's fairly advanced. So we're just going to be sticking to a Python file. So this is going to be the fifth option right over here. Click on Python file, and you can see Python file, Python unit test, Python stub. It's just going to be a Python file. And what we're going to do is name this. So in the name, I don't like adding spaces or anything like that, so that wouldn't work. I suggest using an underscore if you want for there to be a space. This is just common programmer etiquette. It's something that programmers just follow, even though sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. It's just a lot easier when you keep it consistent. So we're going to be naming this Hello World, and the reason for that is because Hello World is the very basic program that a lot of people go ahead and complete when they do this for when they start programming for their first time. And although previously on this course we have gone ahead and done programming, we've never actually done it in an IDE. So one thing that you might want to do, if your window's a little small, you can go ahead and you can minimize this, and that kind of will go away. I don't really need that because I have a slightly bigger monitor. But then again, if you ever need space, you can just remember, just click the minimize button right here. So, Python syntax, I'm sure most of you guys know by now. The print function is going to be print with the double quotation marks and the parentheses, hello world. We can go ahead and do Control S, which means saving it. And after that, you go up here, you go through all of these, and then you get to run. When you click on run, you see all these options here, and you're going to want to click on this one right here. So when you click on this, another menu should pop up, and whatever one you click on here, that's the one it's going to run. So we don't want to run main, we want to run hello world. We click on that, it runs, and it prints hello world right there. Very simple like that. Nothing much else to it. That is the very, very basics of how we're going to be programming in this IDE. So now to familiarize you guys with what we're going to be programming later on in this course, we are going to be using tic-tac-toe. So before we move on, I see Alan Zhu, you have a question. There is not going to be any homework. Once again, this class is something that's completely optional. I hope it's something that can excite you guys, because programming is something that is going to be a large part of the future world. As we can see with this pandemic going around, COVID-19, it's forced a lot of us to stay home, but it's a good opportunity to pick up some new interests, and I hope that programming can become one of you guys' hobbies, because it is, to me, something really exciting, and seeing something with so much potential, I feel like it's only proper for me to go ahead and make sure you guys kind of spread my knowledge with everyone else. So for this class today, there is not going to be any homework at all. My only suggestion for you guys is to program in this IDE yourselves. There's a bunch of small things you can do. As you can see in the way I did it, I just printed hello world. You can, maybe program something for addition, add two numbers together and then print it out. Small things like that. Maybe even going in from coding bats and just copying and pasting some code, just going like, wow, it works exactly the same, right? So now we are going to be doing tic-tac-toe. So tic-tac-toe is the very it's a classic game. Most of you guys have probably heard it. So when you go ahead, and the entire goal of this game is to go ahead and win it, and when you win it, you're supposed to get 3 in a row. This one kind of consolidated it, but this picture right here, as you can see, when you get 3 in a row, you win the entire game. And it's important that you understand the basic rules of it, so when you program it, you have a good idea of the direction you kind of want to be going in, right? So now that we kind of know what kind of direction we're going in, I'm going to go ahead and show, I guess, what the final what the final result is going to look like. Um, so give me 1 second here. I need to pull it up. Alright, so need to share the new screen. Alrighty. So we're going to create a new file, and we're going to name it tic-tac-toe. And this is the code, 260 lines long. I know it seems like there's quite a lot of stuff in here, and there is one thing that needs to be done before we can actually go ahead and do this. My bad. There's something called Pygame over here. Pygame is going to be, we can actually just go ahead and Google it. Pygame. So Pygame is a plugin, essentially something that programmers use with a lot of the common methods that are used in games. So this program that is used uses Pygame, and you guys will also need to be able to download Pygame. So as you can see, when we came over here, we just googled Pygame. We click on this, and then we get to pygame.org, right? The Pygame main site. And we have all of this over here, and we can see, alright, well, it's clearly like a site where, you know, developers kind of go ahead and share their mini projects that they go ahead and work on, I guess. So as you can see here, so we want to click on getting started, and we want to make sure that we can use Pygame here. So as you can see here, this is going to be something that's actually already installed in your computer, technically speaking, right? But there is I guess something that you still need to do, and this is going to be python 3-m pip install u pygame -- user. You can read exactly what's going on here. I'll give you guys like a minute or two to read what's going on here, and then we can move on. Alright, so this is going to be something that's called command prompt code. So command prompt code is, if we go ahead and we just search up command prompt, this is what the command prompt looks like. So go ahead, I guess you guys can pull it up yourselves. You don't really need to, seeing as you can do this afterwards if you want to rewatch it. But I'll give you a second to do that. So over here, when you want to open up command prompt, all you need to do is just come over here and type in command prompt. And after you type in command, it'll pop up for me, but you can just type out the full name, and that's what it is. So I'll give you guys 1 second to go over this. So once we're in this, we want to make sure we know, how to go ahead and navigate this. And if you don't know like the basic code over here, you can go ahead and just Google command prompt code, right? So, um, command prompt is something that advanced programmers use a lot. And what I mean by this is it's a very naked way, I guess, of communicating with your computer. This is going to be the one-on-one with your computer. Whatever I tell you to do here, you're going to go ahead and do it. And essentially, this is one of the most dangerous ways as well, because um, it's directly processing, the computer is directly processing what you tell it to do. So there are no more safety boundaries, there's nothing like that. And as a result, it's one of the most advanced because it's fastest since it doesn't have those boundaries anymore, but you can also definitely fry your computer. And when I say fry your computer, I really do mean fry your computer. By making it overcalculate, you can definitely actually damage it. But we're just going to be using it for very basic purposes here. So there are two very basic commands, and first of all is current directory. Current directory will tell you exactly what directory you're in, and there's also dir, which goes ahead and lists your entire directory right here. So what we want to do is we want to install Python here, so or the Pygame here. So what's happening over here, if you read this over carefully enough, is essentially Python 3 doesn't come with this thing called a package. Now, what exactly is a package? Well, a package is literally just a bunch of code. And in this case, this code is essential in running our tic-tac-toe game. So when we go ahead and we run this ourselves, and we want Pygame to be installed onto our computer, what we have to do is we have to type in this code. So as you can see, Python was not found, run without arguments to install, blah 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 blah. So this is going to be another step. So I guess we can save this till next class. There's really no urgency in this. For now, you guys should go ahead and really just get familiar with the PyCharm IDE. It doesn't hurt to go ahead and just practice inside the Python IDE. So Bacon Ham. So I see you asked. I'm using a Mac, so can I use a terminal instead? So I believe, is there command prompt on Mac? So to access the command prompt on Mac, you need to open the terminal application. That is going to be the exact same thing. You can do some research over the upcoming week, and once you go ahead and can kind of confirm that the command prompt is the terminal application, which it looks like it is. Again, yeah, both websites say that terminal is the Mac equivalent of command prompt. So I guess something for you guys to occupy you guys for the next week is to just play around PyCharm. You can just copy and paste code from the web. You can write your own code, just anything to go like, this is how PyCharm works, and now I'm kind of familiar with it. So with that, I know this lesson was a bit longer than usual, but I hope everyone kind of was able to follow along, and next week we can get started with first of all seeing what our goal is, and then second of all starting on our programming journey in order to finish our very first mini project in tic-tac-toe. So thank you everyone for watching. If no one has any questions, you guys can go ahead and leave. But if you do have any questions, feel free to ask them. I'm always here to answer them. If you have any questions after the class, feel free to go ahead and email at capitalroboticsclub@gmail.com. But then again, thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Thank you. Alrighty, it looks like no one has any questions. So, see everyone next week. Thank you.